Chapter 19, Civic Pride. We'd been learning about civics since the first grade. There was always a field trip to the fire station on Henry Street. We watched the same film about the firemen, policemen, and mayor who kept our community safe and orderly. The film's narrator reminded every boy, from Ellis Carter to the Jameses, the Anthonys, and every other pants wearer, that they could too grow up to be guardians of our community. We girls were reminded that we could look forward to becoming teachers, nurses, wives, and mothers. Poets were never mentioned. At the center, we had a civics lesson. We were being taught our rights as citizens and how to protect those rights when dealing with the police. Sister Makumbu used the word policeman, while Crazy Kelvin, who filled in for Sister Pat, preferred to say the racist pig. He broke our rights down step by step, as if there was no time to lose. Any given day, a police car could stop my sisters and me on our way from the Safeway market and search our bag of groceries. We had to be armed with our rights. As the lesson went on, it seemed like all Crazy Kelvin wanted was to get us to call the police the pigs. He started with Hirohito. "My man Hirohito, who knocked down your door and arrested your father?" Hirohito's face fell to the table. He looked worse than when Sister Makumbu asked him to revolve and spin around the sun. He picked at a flaky piece of skin on his thumb. Normally I'd think, ew, nasty boy. How disgusting. Instead, I felt sorry for him, with Crazy Kelvin poking at him. Hirohito answered, "The police." Crazy Kelvin said, "The who?" Hirohito said, "The Oakland police." That wasn't good enough for Crazy Kelvin, whom we had to call Brother Kelvin in the classroom. He looked like a bony, big-beaked chicken going, "The who? The who?" It was like the time he shouted "black girl" at my sisters and me while we shouted back "colored girl." Didn't take sharp eyes to see Sister Makumbu was annoyed with her helper and as usual stepped in to put an end to it. Crazy Kelvin was supposed to talk to us about our rights, not to stand there going, "The who? The who?" Big-beaked Crazy Kelvin wasn't done. He said, "The pigs broke down the door of a Vietnam War hero's house. The pigs handcuffed him without respect for his rights as a citizen. The racist pigs then separated Brother Woods from his family because he dared speak the truth to the people." Hirohito tried to show no change in his face, but he was changing on the inside, where people change when they're sad or angry. He looked directly at me, then looked away. I felt like I was supposed to say something to him, but I didn't know what. Sister Makumbu thanked Brother Kelvin for being our guest speaker and showed him to the door. Fern tugged at the hem of my top. "I don't like him. Surely don't." I glanced Eunice Ankton's way. I had just found out what she meant when we were out by the water fountain, that Hirohito's father was in prison for speaking out to the people. Hirohito's father was what Sister Makumbu called a freedom fighter and a political prisoner, although, now that I knew, I didn't find any satisfaction in having found out. Imagine to have your father sitting down eating dinner or shining his shoes while watching TV, to have your front door blown off its hinges and the police rush in, to see your father in handcuffs led away. Hirohito didn't have to imagine. He knew. I had been scared once, truly scared for Papa. It happened 2 summers ago. Big Ma had gone back to Alabama ahead of us to visit family and take care of her house. We had packed up the Wildcat and had driven down to Alabama so my sisters and I could stay there for the summer. We had been driving all day, all night. Talk about being a long way from home. If we needed to stop, we found a gas station or a nice colored family to open their home up to us. As we drove deeper south, down dark highways and even darker back roads, I felt like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. I told myself, "Delphine, We are no longer in Brooklyn. Papa had pulled the car off the road so we could catch a few hours of sleep. I remember Vonetta snoring on one side of me, Fern and Miss Patty Cake burrowed into my side. Somehow I managed to find myself snoring with my sisters and Papa. Then there had been a loud rap against the window. Balls of flashlight ghosts had flown all around the back and front seats, all over our faces. It had been a state policeman. Papa had rolled down his window and shown the state policeman his license and said he was driving his girls down to see their grandma in Alabama. The state policeman hadn't offered directions. He didn't call Papa Mr. Gaither, sir, or a citizen, like the helpful police officers in our Civic Pride film. I heard what I heard what that state policeman called Papa. I heard it all right. I held on to Fern tight, afraid for Papa, afraid Papa might talk back or fight back. When we arrived at Big Ma's, I'd expected that Pa would have told Big Ma all about it, how we couldn't stop and pee anywhere we wanted to, how the state police had rapped on the window, what he called Papa, how Papa hadn't hauled back like Cassius Clay and socked the policeman's jaw into the next county. Papa could tell some stories. He speaks them so plain you believe every word. I knew Papa would have entertained Big Ma. Big Ma asked, "How'd the trip go?" Pa had said, "We made it down, sure enough. You know, Ma. Same old, same old." Chapter 20, Rally for Bobby. When Sister Pat pinned the picture of Bobby Hutton to the wall next to the other revolutionaries, I learned who he was. I finally read about him in the Black Panther newspaper. The article reported how the people wanted to name the park after Bobby. The article also reported what had happened to him. I kind of remember having watched the news with Big Ma a few months ago and hearing about the shooting in Oakland. Now the shooting seemed closer, more real. Bobby Hutton was the first member of the Black Panthers, other than the leaders. He was so young, the Black Panther leaders, Huey Newton and Bobby Seale, made him get his mother's permission to join. He was also the youngest Black Panther to die for the cause. He was only 6 years older than I was. The newspaper had said how the police ambushed the Black Panthers while they were in a car and how the Panthers fled inside a house for shelter, that there was a shootout, that the police fired at the Panthers and the Panthers fired at the police, that when little Bobby came outside to surrender and took off all his clothes except for his underwear to show he had no gun, they shot him anyway. Over and over and over. That was this past April, 2 days after Reverend King was killed. After reading about Bobby Hutton, I had begun to look around at the Panthers who helped out at the center and the young ones on the streets, patrolling or passing by. I had looked real hard at them and seen that they were teenagers or were a little older, like Sister Pat and Crazy Kelvin. I couldn't stand Crazy Kelvin, never called him Brother Kelvin or went out of my way to speak to him. But I didn't want to see him get shot because he was wearing his Off the Pig t-shirt. Reading the article had made me both angry and afraid. Angry someone as young as Bobby had been killed, and afraid that if he could get shot for being with the Panthers, maybe it was too dangerous for us to be at the Black Panther summer camp. After all, they weren't teaching us how to deal with the police for nothing. And I was tall for my age. No one would think I was a girl going on 12. The police who patrolled the center could be chasing someone, burst in, shoot first, and ask questions later. Maybe we didn't have to come to the center to learn our rights and to have breakfast. If Cecile let me cook dinner in her kitchen, she'd let me fry some eggs or pour some cereal in her kitchen too. Being in Cecile's house might have been crazy. Her house might have not have been smothered with love, but being in Cecile's house was at the very least safe. We were better off in that green stucco house than with Cecile. What would Papa have said if he knew I was bringing Vonetta and Fern to a summer school where police cars drove by to see what we were doing? I was supposed to look after Vonetta and Fern, not put them in danger. I wished I hadn't opened up that newspaper. I wished I could go right on thinking we were having breakfast, painting signs, and learning our rights. I wish I didn't know that I was marching my sisters into a boiling pot of trouble, cooking in Oakland. But it was too late for wishing. I knew full well what I knew. I could barely give Sister Makumbu my full attention. She said we would be attending a rally 2 Saturdays from today. Something about freeing Huey and naming the park across the street after little Bobby Hutton. Hearing Bobby Hutton's name had shaken me out of my thoughts. My hand shut up before I had words formed in my mind. I knew rally meant protest, and that protest could mean riot. After all, I read the papers. I watched the evening news. A protest was never a love-in. Sister Makumbu was still smiling. Sister Makumbu was still smiling when she recognized me. I bet she thought I was going to talk about the newspaper article or say something revolutionary. I said, "I'm sorry, Sister Makumbu, but my sisters and I can't go to the rally." I knew I surprised her because I'm not an "I can't" kind of person. I might as well said, "We didn't come here for the revolution." Sister Pat said, "Don't worry, sis. I know Sister Anzilla. She'll let you go." I got over her saying how she knew my mother when I barely knew Cecile. Besides, I had bigger fish to fry. I said, "It's not my mother who's saying no. I'm saying no. We can't go." Then Vonetta called out, "We can too go to the rally." And Fern said, "We surely can." And Vonetta and Fern didn't know what they were saying. They just didn't want to be left out of an activity concerning those Yankton girls or that Hirohito still wearing his same old Oakland Raider jersey. Sister Makumbu asked for respect and order in the classroom. We quieted down. She said she would speak to me later and continue talking about the rally and honoring Bobby Hutton and freeing Huey. Then she said the very thing that was sure to defeat me. She said, "We have been asked to do a special presentation for the rally." My sisters' faces lit up. "We could perform a play, do a group dance, or recite poetry, or if anyone has a special talent to display, you can do that too." I was sunk. Talent to display was enough to sway Vonetta and Fern. There was no way to keep Vonetta from throwing herself on stage after Sister Makumbu said those 3 words. Vonetta is all ham and show. On occasion, even a riot in the making would have been good enough to perform at. Fern is no better. She sings like a bird, is cute, and, like Vonetta, can't resist the lure of applause and attention. I don't have anything to be vain about. I have no talent to show. Even if I did, I have no desire to throw myself before people for their applause. I dance because the lessons are paid for, and Papa feels all girls should dance ballet and tap. I sing in the children's choir because Big Mom makes sure we motherless girls enjoy all the pitying looks the church can spare, whether we want them or not. Later, during free time, Hirohito and the boys started doing karate and jujitsu moves. The Yankton girls huddled to talk about what they would do for their special talent. From the looks of the gesturing, they would dance an African dance. The other kids just played. I expected Vonetta to run off and join the Yanktons, but Vonetta told Fern and me we should sing a song. Fern added, "We should sing a song and do a dance." Before I could say why we shouldn't, they started. "We could wave our arms pretty like the Supremes, and wear our hair like the Supremes, or wild like Tina Turner and the Ikettes." "Ooh, ooh, we can sing our song," Vonetta said. "Yeah, our song," Fern said. I pretended I didn't know which song they meant, but I knew. Just to make sure I knew, Vonetta and Fern sang the first 3 words to "Dry Your Eyes" on cue. "No," I said. They sang louder, Fern's voice sweet and high, Vonetta's drippy and dramatic. "No," I told them, "we're not singing that." They ignored me and belted out the heartbreaker part where the mother must leave her baby. Then they sang the la-la parts. By now everyone looked our way, so I hushed Vonetta and Fern, whose eyes shone with life and sparkle. I had no hope of reeling either back to their good common sense. We are not singing that song, I said plainly. To their "Why not?" pouting faces, I said, "This presentation is for the people, for Bobby Hutton and Huey Newton. It's not for singing about your broken heart and your long-lost mother." But they insisted on Brenda and the tabulations. They insisted on letting the world in on their longing for a mother who wouldn't cook a meal for them. I put my foot down. "We cannot sing that song." "Can too," they started. Vonetta said, "and then she'll come to the talent show and see us on stage. And see how good we are." It didn't seem right that they were singing and dancing. It didn't seem right that they thought singing and dancing would change Cecile into someone who cried for her long-lost daughters or fried pork chops and made banana pudding. Cecile wasn't that kind of mother, if you wanted to call her one at all. Her name might have changed. She might have been living on the other side of the country, but Cecile was plain old Cecile, just crazier and scarier than I remembered. I told them outright. We could sing Dry Your Eyes like Brenda and the Tabulations and dance like the Ikettes. Cecile won't come to the rally and cheer us on. They said I was wrong about Cecile and wrong about what we could and could not sing for the talent show. I said, those people aren't rallying for a TV set. They're rallying to free Huey and to change the name of the park. The mayor, the judge, and the police aren't going to just say, "Fine by us." There's going to be trouble cooking at the rally. Vonetta sang, "Spoil sport, worry wart." Then Fern joined her. I said, "Fine, but I'm not singing with you." Sister Makumbu said she needed help with something. Everyone raised his or her hand, but she called my name, even though I kept my hand down. I couldn't say I was surprised. Sister Makumbu said, "What's troubling you, Sister Delphine? Why don't you want to participate in the rally?" "Sister Makumbu, it's all dangerous. Just being here at the center is dangerous." She was silent for a while. "I see." That meant she wasn't going to lie to me. I wanted to still like her. I couldn't if she lied to me. "I have to look out for my sisters, you know." Sister Makumbu said, "We look out for each other. The rally is one way of looking out for all our sisters, all of our brothers. Unity, Sister Delphine. We have to stand united." I was thinking, alive. We have to be alive. Wouldn't little Bobby rather be alive than remembered? Wouldn't he rather be sitting out in the park than have a park named after him? I wanted to watch the news, not be in it. The more I thought about it, the more I had my answer. We were staying home tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that. We certainly weren't going to be in no rally.